best-selling author, no other than Mr. Joe Clifford.
Hey Daniel, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm fabulous, fabulous like you, Mr. Joe. And once again, thank you so much for your time. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
My name's Joe Clifford. I'm an author, a musician, but I guess I'm here for the books. I've written around 17 of them, something like that. And most of them deal with, it's the plight of the marginalized, I suppose. Examining. So my kids are leaving for school, so I got to read outside the door. Dogs barking outside the house. And now they're coming in to say goodbye. All right. I love you, kiddo. See you later. Have a nice day at school. All right. All right. We have to cut that. Anyway, my book's about the marginalized, exploited, and the persecuted, and sort of the forgotten element of American society. Just living in sleazy hotels or being alone to online diners, that sort of life left unexamined. And I try to bring a little humanity to that situation. I spent quite a few years homeless and destitute myself, although now I'm doing childish sort of inclinations. But I've since I've come back, I've learned that every story needs to be told. But sometimes voices aren't able to be heard. That's my case.
Mr. Joe, what's inspired you to become an author?
I don't know how to do anything else, Daniel. Man, I'm not good at anything else. I've tried. I did. I tried working. I tried husband. I tried everything. Just I know how to make art. I know how to create. Music, painting, and stories are the only way I've really been able to find some footing in this life. So I need as much to stay sober and sane as I do anything. But of course, when you write books or you're any kind of entertainer, that's the heart of that is you have to entertain somebody else. You're not there for your own uh, therapy or your own well-being. You're there to entertain others. We have a world of how many people? I don't know. We're up to now 8 billion or something. Everybody wants something. Everybody wants to be. So my job to give people is to entertain them. That's how I'm providing a service. That's how the world works. So it's what I do. I wish I had a better skill set. To be honest with you, I wish I could roller skate or rap or maybe just hold on a day job, but I don't. This is what I do, and so I make it work.
So, can you tell us about your writing process?
My writing process. Let's see. My writing process. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. I've incorporated art into my everyday life. And I know that sounds pretentious. I'm sorry, but I mean, everything that's going on in the Say My Name books, it's all about this idea of art and creation being so intricately connected that as a creator, an artist, you can't separate yourself from the world you're envisioning, and you sort of manifest your own reality. As strange as that sounds, I think when you're living so much of your time in your head, it can be a dangerous place because there's a lot of corners maybe we shouldn't go down in our heads. And when you're a writer, you kind of explore them all. Some corners maybe are better left, unexplored. Uh, my process is I kind of go insane. I write and I immerse myself in this world, and I try to find some bearings, to root myself there as I explore whatever's happening in this scenario I've created. But then you're applying all the real world attributes, and sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. You have an idea with a book. This is my last book. I won't say a word. Is got a non-verbal communicator, right? You can't read, you can't see, you can't read, can't write, you can't speak, you can't see, you're fine. You just can't communicate. It's called Hysteria. And I just thought that'd be a really cool way to tell a story, but it also mirrored the way I sometimes feel is whatever I've done with my life, myself, where I am. Where I think everybody feels the same. Isn't germane to me, but you feel like you lost your voice. You feel like you don't have a say in what what's going on around you, helpless in a sense, which is strange to the dichotomy being somebody on the other side of the screen who's creating this world in which you're sort of omnipotent, right? You're one of the appeals of being an artist is a very hubristic element that involves being, in a sense, a god. You create who lives, you create who dies, you create who goes through good times, you go through bad times. You really are an architect, and you know of happiness or sadness, as it would be. And so, yeah, that's where my process goes, and unfortunately, it has a residual effect where I've been writing about addicts and divorced dads and single fathers and living alone. And it was so long. I don't know if I saw the writing on the wall or I knew what was happening, but you begin to take on the characteristics of your characters. And that's fascinating to me because, like I said, it's some time in my head. You better learn to like that place because that's where you're going to be. You're writing books, that's where you're going to be.
Yes. So, what challenges have you faced in your writing career?
Uh, the writing career, that's probably the biggest obstacle, the actual institution of writing. Uh, you have a handful of publishers. And again, these are all every. There's no bad guys in these stories, right? I mean, when you talk about art and being art published, it's really used to have an us versus them approach, and everyone in publishing is just trying to make money. They're just trying to make money. They're trying to provide for their family. They're trying to get ahead. They love books, but they get a lot of books. I forget what the number was of books released last year, something like 2 million, something like that. And like, it's really hard as a publisher. It's really hard as an editor. It's really hard as an agent. Everybody's got it hard. You got so many people writing books, but so few people want to read them, which is alarming, right? Everyone wants to write a book, but so few want to read them. We have a really negligent reading population. It's, I don't know if it's all this way around the world, but in America, I think it's one out of four reads a book after high school. So you figure one out of four reads a book after high school, and how many books are they going to read that year? Maybe one book, maybe two books. You get 2 million books. Who's going to read them? Why do you read my book and not read Mark Greaney? Why would you read Mark Greaney? You wrote the Gray Man. If I have a choice, if I have one last breath, and you're saying, hey, should I read your book or read Mark Greaney? Read Mark Greaney. He's better than I am. He wrote the Gray Man. He's a better person. He's a better writer. Read Mary Kupka. Go read Jennifer Hillier. Go read Wendy Walker. These are all writers who I can't. I'm not in their. I'm not in their. They're beyond what I can do. I'm trying to get there. So just in good conscience, like if I'm saying, hey man, here's a book to read, am I going to tell you to read a Jay Porter book? Am I going to tell you to read Good Girl by Mary Kubica? As an artist, as a writer, as a fan of literature, I got to tell you to read Mary. She's better than I am. So the biggest problem is that just there's not as much of a customer. I don't use the word customer, but consumer is probably a better word. And because of that, there's very few spots at the table. It's just the average writer makes $5,000 a year. To say I'm doing slightly better than the average writer is a slight exaggeration. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, some years I do better than others. Sometimes I do better than others. We're particularly sensitive a lot, artists. So who the hell knows? I could be doing better than I think I'm doing. I don't. Perception is 9/10 of the law, and I don't. It's what 8:15 here in California, and I got this new cat, right? My wife, my wife and I getting divorced, so I'm leaving. First thing, she says, "You went out and bought a cat immediately." She knows I can't be around cats because I got allergies. And I love cats, but I just like allergies. So I'm sneezing, I'm stuffed up. And, this other Pomeranian dog, this little she devil that my wife had, that just barks nonstop, just nonstop. I love animals. Like, God, is this dog not obnoxious? And then last week we just put down my dog Lucky, the dog I really love. So it's just like a zoo around this house, zoo. The people running around the house, and I don't remember the question from 5 minutes ago. My writing process, the biggest challenges is getting out of my own way and getting to this desk with head uninterrupted. I also have minor brain damage from doing too many drugs in the 90s. So big speech, a little difficult, Daniel. What do we got for the next question? There we go. I think I've rambled.
So, what authors or books influence your writing?
Well, my kids' names are Holden and Jackson Kerouac, so that'll give a couple authors away. Lately, mostly, I started with, reading the classics, Stephen King and, other old white men. And then I hit a point where I realized, man, I've been neglecting like half of the writing population because I just wasn't reading women. I mean, I read Wuthering Heights, which is fantastic, and I read a book here and there, but I wasn't really giving women authors the attention they deserved. And you know, right now, women are doing something in domestic psychological suspense that nobody else is doing. And so when I got hooked on that, I started with Gone Girl. Really, that's pretty much all I read. Is female domestic suspense, and very rarely will I go outside that milieu. I read a few pages of Crime and Punishment last night, so I saw the new Beetlejuice movie reference, and I was like, I should read that book. It's expected to put me to sleep. I, I need a book now where something happens in the first two pages, and I'm betrothed to the same rules everybody else is. I don't have a lot of time to play. We live in a culture and a society and a time, whatever, where entertainment's immediate, man. You got Twitter, it's like you got or whatever X or formerly Twitter, whatever that whale of a human thing over there is doing. Um, and so we just don't have the time to set up 18 pages of exposition like Dostoevsky did, which is a beautiful introduction, right? He's trying to sneak back his landlady. He's talking about poverty and the plight. I mean, I love that stuff. I mean, I love it. It's that Russian literature just drenched in misery and depression, which is really where I reside. And but after a few pages, man, I'm asleep. I'm asleep. I got a kid next to me. I sleep on the couch because I lost on. I have a very big house, but I sleep on the couch because my wife and I get divorced. And so, my kid sleeps next to me every night. But
So
I mean, I don't have all night to read. So I'm asleep, passed out.
yes. So how do you approach research of your books?
I hope to do a book where I don't need to do a lot of research, right? I mean, that's why I write books. I don't want to be doing, no, that's not true. But being a writer, you do a lot of research, and it's book to book, and generally, my research comes down to what case am I writing about. I like to take fictional cases, real cases, which are fictional. These are cases that happened to me in my life, affected my family members, affected my brother, my father, and I fictionalize them. I also just will steal headlines straight up. One of my books was All Who Wander, which was based on a real life disappearance, and I just changed the names and took the scenario of a car, just in the middle of the night crashing, and the woman driving the car disappearing, never being seen from again. I said, well, what happened there? That's intriguing to me. Like, what's her story before then? What's her story after then? You make all this stuff up. Oh, yeah. So I didn't forget the question. I think I didn't even recall it.
So what's your favorite book that you have written and why?
Well, I mean, it happened in my last book, right? I'm gonna say a word. Or no, let's go. Let's go. Even after that, book three in the Same series, The Mandela Effect, which was a really fun book to write. Now, this goes back to your research question. Now I remember your question. So the last book I wrote was called The Mandela Effect, and to write that book, I had to learn quantum mechanics, and it was a very funny, not so funny moment before the ending. Third night, where my wife was came to the room and she's like, "What are you reading?" I told her, she's like, "You're trying to read a book on quantum mechanics?" Yeah, I gotta understand how time travel works. And so for 4 months, I immersed myself in quantum mechanics. Sorry, quantum mechanics. I read, revisited Search of Schrodinger's Cat, and you look at the basics of Einstein's theory, or he actually wasn't thinking quantum mechanics. He called it the spooky science from a distance. Was a German phrase for it. But I had to learn it. I mean, I had to learn how it worked. I had to learn how it worked because I had to implement the double slit experiments and string theory and all this stuff that still I barely grasp. I mean, I grasped half a percent of it. Whatever I needed enough to write the book. And as soon as I learned enough, which was about 4 months, then I got out of there. That's weird. That's like a butterfly flaps wings in China. You could drop your tea in Missouri. I don't know if they have tea in Missouri, but Moonshine, Missouri. That's probably stereotyping. Anyway, so you find out what you need, and you do that, and you learn that, and that part's not as much fun for me as some people really like that. I like the writing. What I really like is when I'm in a book and in a world, and I get that, and I'm lost, and I get lost. And there's a really, I did a lot of drugs back in the '90s, as I mentioned, which is why my speech is a little weird. But I, when you hit the zone, when you're writing, you hit that right pitch. It's a high. It's as good as any drug's ever been. Any ex-act will tell you when you lose that high, you spend your life chasing it. And you just try to find ways that are healthier. Right? This is healthy. Being an artist, hit my groove. I get that high, but still, it's a great high. And that junky part of my brain never really goes away. It's like, yeah, man. So that part's happy, and the other part's happy. I'm feeling fulfilled, and I'm writing a book that now I just need the six-figure advance, and then we're all set. So if you know anybody out there, Daniel, who's ready to give me $1 for my book, let me know. I buy a new house. My kids have very expensive taste.
So, Mr. Joe, can you share a memorable moment from your writing career?
I can share a lot of them. The one that comes to mind would probably be after. Well, I was in grad school. Go all the way back to my second divorce for this. I was in grad school. I just got divorced for a second time. I was married for about eight days, and it was rough. It was rough. I was going through a hard time, but I was also trying really hard. I was also producing some good stuff. I mean, I came to Flirt International with a bit of a not that I was not that I was really scouted so much as grad schools can't. You don't make money with a grad degree, right? With grad degree in the arts. So you don't. This is a little secret they don't tell you. You don't pay for a grad degree. Don't pay for a grad degree in the arts. People will give you money. You just have to be good enough and be at the right place at the right time. So I basically got a scholarship to Florida International, which was terrific. I was feeling really, really low because it was my second divorce, and I was only sober. I relapsed. It was rough. But I heard the story about how Iowa Writers Workshop would rank their writers week to week. And if you've ever been in a house of writers, like an MFA program, you've never met more catty bitches than you'll ever find. I mean, everybody's just that. I mean, men, women, everybody's catty. It's petty, passive aggressive. There are a few people whose name I can't mention, but there were some really passive aggressive people, and I was probably the worst of them. So anyway, we're in the program, and I'm writing, and I'm not feeling so great about myself, and I see that, and I'm like, my God, can you imagine that every day every week you go into your class, and like you were seven last week, now you're eight, right? Like it's devastating. And so I was talking to Lynn Barrett, my thesis advisor, and recently I just won another award from that $5,000. While I was in school, which it didn't dawn on me that it was anything special at the time. Just like here's $5,000 that the school is giving you. But it turned out that one of the former students at the MFA program had done well in stocks. He donated a $5,000 scholarship to the International Writer Program, and they gave it to me. And it was just, I did divorce, and it was great. So there's sure there's some pity involved, but there's also I was producing some good stuff. Anyway, I was talking to Lynn Bear, and I was like, it'd be great if we could do that, like in Iowa, right? I'd like to know where I stand. What if I'd like to know who the number one writer is in our writing program? And Lynn Bear said, I think we just decided that when we gave you the money, and it was really sweet. It was really sweet, and it probably was, like I said, love. It was charity. Taking compliments is never great, but it also was touching. It was that school was, Lynn and John and James W. Hall and Les Standiford and all those, John Dufresne. I mean, when I had my motorcycle accident, John Dufresne, who I'd known maybe a year and a half, I didn't know it. I had a motorcycle accident. So I broke my back, broke my legs, shattered my pelvis, all that stuff. John Dufresne was like, "Come stay with us. Come live in our house. We have a guest house. You can just stay there, and we'll help you get better." Which is incredible, right? Like I didn't know this guy. What a sweetheart! Like you're gonna move me into your house with your wife, your kid, like all this. Like you're gonna let me, like with my history especially. It was so touching. That school was. I didn't appreciate how great that. Like I didn't appreciate how wonderful that school was, and how much they helped nurture my career at the time. Because I'm like most my ego, uh, the divide between my ego and my insecurity is massive. That's why you have a massive ego to make up for the fact that you're extremely insecure. So it was hard. But looking back, they shaped the kind of writer I was. I turned to be. They encouraged me to write genre. Very few MFA programs encourage that. I was, told like, hey, yo, let's make some money. Money isn't a bad word. Commercialism isn't a bad word. So yeah,
Yes.
that's the story. Long roundabout way.
Yes, for sure. So, Mr. Joe, what advice do you have for aspiring writers?
Oh God, I always get the same advice, Daniel. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I know it sounds funny and it sounds like a joke. I get it is a little bit of a joke, but I really mean it. If you cannot write, I mean, if you like, I kind of like writing, but you don't have to do it, don't do it. It's not a path to happiness. It's like I said, the money's dismal. As I watch myself get erased from this existence in this house, which I have helped build up for the last 12 years. I'm just being removed because I'm no longer necessary. I don't make enough money. I don't produce enough. I don't. I'm just my time's done. I help raise the kids. Now the kids are old enough; they don't need me anymore. I mean, in terms of like every day taking care of them, like being watched every day. They're old now. And with my wife, to her credit, I put up with a lot of crap. I mean, I'm not a happy person. I'm not easy to be around. I'm not, to quote the national the holiday, and she just had enough. And I don't blame her. I'm morose. I'm sullen. I'm moody. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I mean, this isn't saying I don't do good things well, but is being looking objectively. I try to look at things objectively. And I try to look at things and try to tell the truth, even if the truth paints me in an unflattering light. I like to know I'm being honest with myself. Even if I'm lying to you, that's fine. You want to lie to people? We all lie. I lie to you. You lie to me. Everyone lies. But you got to be honest with yourself. You got to know why you're doing what you're doing and for what reason. And so, looking at this situation, which is obviously sort of overtaking my life, the divorce and kids and the house and all that stuff, it's a big deal. But I can't say in any way I blame her. I mean, I'm surprised she's hung out this long. I'm not. I'm no holiday, and it's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
So, Mr. Joe, how do you balance writing with the other aspects of your life?
I don't. That's the problem, Daniel. My life is writing. Writing. Now we have to go all the way back to my first wife, Hadley. God, I love her. She was great. But she used to believe art was life. Art is life. Life is art. And now, as usual, I'm here. It is. 30 years later, I'm catching up to Hadley, who's by far the most brilliant person I've ever met. Just absolutely brilliant, tortured and miserable and unhappy because she was too smart. Um, I remember saying that to her one day. I was like, I wish I were as smart as you had. And she said, No, you don't. It was such a great moment. And I forget where were we now. You got these early morning interviews. Then you got to remember, like I drink like 17 cups of coffee a day, so like we're only on cup one. Right? My mind is not exactly. I'm not fully present. You have to repeat yourself what the question was. Sorry.
So, how has your writing evolved over time?
I've gotten better, man. I've gotten better. I've gotten better. I'm producing the best work I've ever produced. My in terms of syntax and characterization and story, I'm light years above where I started, and I have probably fewer readers than when I started. Um, the thing with writing, and technical proficiency and skill is part of it, but it's not the biggest part of it. And if I were to tell you the top 10 things to be a writer, top 10 things, the actual writing, I would put towards the end. 9, 10. You don't have to be a good writer. Dan Brown's not a good writer. Dan Brown can't write a sentence. He's horrible. He's a horrible writer. E.L. James is a horrible writer in terms of just syntax of prose and crafting. E.L. James makes $200,000 a day. I'll be a horrible writer and write 50 Shades of Grey if I could. I can't write 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know how. If I could exploit that underlying need for mommy porn, I'd do it. But I can't. It's not what I do. Yeah, that's Sheila. That's my wife's dog. This is one of the most evil dogs. I mean, if you saw this dog is so cute. This little tiny Pomeranian, it's like 8 pounds, adorable. So it's like this little belly, just absolutely adorable. But she is, and I know it's not sounding hyperbole, but she really is Satan incarnate. Evil, evil dog. And one of the things that makes me happy about leaving this divorce is that I can leave and not have to deal with this dog barking every day. And I know it doesn't seem like much, but this dog's a horrible dog. This dog is stuck in the bathroom of the house. It barks outside. It bit me. It's a horrible, horrible dog. And now as I'm trying to interview questions, barking, but which that isn't really your fault so much. We got a new cat. My wife's got a cat. Allergies and stuff. Stuffed up. Yeah. So.
So, what are your some themes or topics that you are passionate about
Misery, depression, grief,
exploring?
unhappiness, being unsatisfied. That's the other thing, right, man? I automatically kind of weed out my readership pool because I choose to write about very unpleasant things. I have a buddy of mine. We're going on a golf trip in a few weeks. Drew, we call him New John Drew, and he never reads my books. And he's like, "No offense, I can't read that stuff. Like I read to escape, and a lot of people read to escape. A lot of people read books to escape, and I understand that. I don't. I read books to not escape, to be confronted with ugly truths. Yeah, it's a little pretentious, but I do. Like that's what I'm doing this for. I want to figure out why I'm here and what's the point of life. And as we get older, that question becomes more passe because there's no answer to it. Like, why are we here? Who knows? We evolved from a meteorite hitting a snowflake, or there's God. No, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. The fact that we're even here and having this conversation is just such an amazing spectacle. We should spend every day just going like, why are we here? But we stop because after a while, there's no answer, right? We're maybe started as the cosmos, and something happened, and now here we are. We stop. We forget, like, well, why do we evolve? We have two fingers and fingernails, and if there's really God, why did he have to, invent bowel movements? Like, he wants something more, appropriate. Like, there's a God, right? Like, why do you have to go through that process? Like, all this like weird stuff that you think about it, it doesn't hold up, right? It does not hold up. And I should preface this by saying I'm I believe in God, my own religion and all that stuff. But intellectually, I can't look at the concept of God intellectually and go, yeah, that makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like, God here and he sacrificed his son and came back, and none of that stuff makes sense. But you find something that makes sense for you, and you go on with it. Um, but yeah, those are the topics that interest me, right? Like the big heavy stuff, and I don't know if I want to write anything less than that. Also, though, that that's part of the reason. Again, some people don't want to read that stuff. A lot of people don't read this stuff. A lot of people don't read about grief and loss and sorrow. Um, Dostoevsky, I'm not the same league, but these are things you wrote about in the 1800s. You don't really write about them now, and so it's much more superficial. It's much more surface, and you go and see a movie, and it's the Beekeeper with Jason Statham, and I enjoy it because it's fun to take my kids and eat popcorn in a movie theater. But there's nothing really there to the movie. It's just a guy going around killing people. It's a guy going around killing people, and for 2 hours, and you eat your popcorn, and that's your story. There's not much of a story there. Books require more investment, delicate sort of, I don't know, balance. Where you're reading and you're giving and you're listening and you're taking and you're part of a collective conversation. And that's what we're having a conversation about. These are heavy, weighty topics, but those are things I find interesting. And you find other people find them interesting, and you find other people who know about the books, and you find it's. This is why I go back, like what I tell the writer, like, don't do it, man. There's such little payoff for so much work. Um, you could go if you don't have to write, man. You can go drive a truck, or you can go work at a warehouse, punch out at the end of the day. If you can do that, do that. Spend time with your family, spend time with your wife and kids. You know, hold on to your life, hold on to your life, right?
So, Mr. Joe, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. I hope more books to come. And can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Yes, you can find everything I've ever done at joeclifford.com. And I'd love to have some more readers. And if you've been asking the question why you're here and what's the point of it all, maybe I'm the writer for you, but God not being very good for this.
Yes, people, next week we're gonna talk about Mr. Joe's latest novel. I won't say a word. Please tune in next week, the same time. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. So, Mr. Joe, thank you for your time.
Thanks so for having me.
Modicom people, see you soon.